welcome to Intuition to Income. This is Abby Gooch, and today I have Susanna Maida, and she is somebody who I actually asked to come back for the second time this year. And she just has so much integrity. She works just with so much heart, and she's one of those people that actually follows through. So I absolutely adore her. And I know she has a lot to offer. She's a PhD. She's been working in business for years and years and years. And she's always been connected to her intuition and worked from that place of center. So Susanna, I would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience, and we will get started.
All right. Well, so I'm Susanna Maida, and what did you want me to say as an introduction? Just a little like a formal type thing?
Tell us about who you are and what has inspired you to create the Medicine Walk of your business, which I know is a big part of your company, and just your inspiration behind what you do.
Well, my inspiration, years ago, I realized that I was really here to help people call forth their gifts, their magic, respond to their calling and bring it forth in service to the world. And I used to be more of a life coach and then a life purpose coach. And somewhere along the way, I transitioned into being a business coach. And it's really all the same journey. Like, I love supporting people in bringing forth their contribution to the world. And even better if they can monetize it so it can support them in being of service to themselves, others in the world. And yeah, I like to, the official thing is like I'm a business coach, but I like to think of myself as a visionary business weaver, since my business name is Reweaving the World. So I think of it as like I'm helping to reweave the world through how we do business. So that's a little introduction.
That's awesome. And I know we'll be able to go a lot more in depth into how you do that throughout this interview, because I find it so fascinating and work from similar places that you do. So I'd really love you to share that as we go on.
All right.
Yeah. So Susanna, how has following your intuition helped you to live your best life and create this amazing business and contribution to the planet?
Well, can I actually just first say that how I understand intuition has actually evolved over the years. And so along with it has how I've listened to it, my relationship with it, how I've really cultivated connection to it. In my early 20s, I think that's when I first became aware of this thing that we call intuition. And I kind of saw it like a sixth sense. Some people had it, other people's not so much. Or maybe they had it, but they buried it. My own experience was that it just allowed me to know something, like this felt sense that I didn't have to consciously reason or, rationally assess my way to. And like the intuitive hits, they would just come unbidden. So I was doing something else, and it was like my thinking mind was distracted. And so some door opened up and boom, there it was. And the challenge was I didn't always know, and you probably hear this a lot, is that intuition or is that fear? So that was part of, me needing to become more artful in discerning that. And so even with that, that was my initial sort of somewhat clunky relationship with intuition. It's played an enormous and essential and ever-growing role in my life, and then even more recently in my business. It's also, we're talking about more than just, business here. I would say it's been very pivotal in my marriage. I have this 20-year, totally extraordinary marriage that I'm blessed with. And it's been a big piece of that. I just always had growing faith in my intuition, and that faith that came from being willing to listen to it. And then it strengthened, and I, took action on it. And so it got stronger and stronger. And so, you asked me how following my intuition has helped me live a better life. Actually, do you want me to tell you more of a story in terms of business?
Maybe a little bit. I guess what I would love for you to talk about that I think is really applicable is the difference between fear and intuition. I think that's a really real discernment and question that people often have. So if you wouldn't mind going into that a bit, that would
Yeah. Well, initially I was just kind of befuddled by it. I didn't always know. But then because I was paying more attention to my intuition, I could start discerning different energy in the voice of intuition and the voice of fear. And let's just acknowledge that the voice of fear can be pretty crafty. You know, it's designed to keep you safe, and it's shameless in what it will resort to. And if you catch on to it, it'll, you know, get more sophisticated, try something else. And so what what I came to was that the voice of intuition actually doesn't have a charge to it.
Mhm.
You know, and you can get some intense intuitive insight, and it's just energetically, emotionally, it's neutral. Whereas fear has a sort of like, ooh, you know, a jangly or a agita to it. And I started to pay more and more attention to that distinction and noticed, yeah, that really is the difference.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So I'm not sure the order. I don't know. I was talking to somebody else, and we actually were talking about love being neutral. And I think actually, now that I'm thinking about it, was a personal coaching session that I had. So I think it's fascinating that you talk about intuition being neutral, because to me, our intuition is our soul embodied. It's that loving place within us all, and it's actually neutral. So I find that really fascinating that love is neutral, right? It's not charged. There's just an acceptance around it.
Yeah. You know what? Here's another thing. When you think about fear, fear lives in our limbic system.
Mm-hmm.
And our limbic system is very like in the body, and it's where I mean, it can completely hijack the body, you know, like adrenaline and overwhelm and all that. But when you talk about intuition being sourced from the soul, it has nothing to do with the limbic system. So it's not going to be reacting in any kind of, you know, emotional or even biochemical way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how would you tune into your intuition then?
You mean these days?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's different because these days, as I said earlier, you know, my intuition, my sense of what intuition is and my relationship with it has evolved over the years. And so let me just say a little bit about how it is now, because that will, from there, I can tell you how I tune into it. So it's, I mean, I want to acknowledge, I think every human being has intuition. It's not some mysterious capacity that some people have and, you know, other people don't. It's just part of being human. And, you know, informed by the shamanic trainings and path that I've been on for some years, I've really come to understand it differently. And actually, I recently saw Deepak Chopra say that intuition is a form of intelligence that's relational, contextual, and holistic. And he also, this is the part I loved, he said, it's a way to eavesdrop on the mind of the universe. And what I love about that is, you know, from an indigenous perspective, we're wired into a living cosmos through our relational intelligence, and that the universe is constantly streaming this incredible flow of information our way. And our natural state is to always, like the door should always be open. We're always directly and immediately perceiving this information. And I think one of the woes of the modern world is that we've forgotten how to do this. We've just dismissed it. And so the door is slammed shut for a lot of folks. And, you know, for some people it opens more, some instances it opens more. And my shamanic teacher says that intuition is the other world shifting your perception so that it can deliver a message to you. And so with that, like, that's really how I hold it. And so when I'm looking to access my intuition, I look at how can I open that door? And it's not a forcing thing. So for people who have had that experience of like, you just get intuition, but then when you try to reach for it, where is it? To me, it's more of releasing. It's releasing into that natural state where the information just flows to you. So when I'm wanting to access intuition, it's about how can I relax and release so that the information that's already there can make its way to me and I can perceive it consciously.
Yeah, I love that. Very well said. Yeah, I'm just thinking that in. It really is about letting go. But I like what you said about resistance. It's like it's always knocking at our door.
Mhm.
But often, even for a second, we can resist it. I mean, I notice myself, it's like, I feel like I should go downstairs. I'm like, no, I don't want to yet, right? Even for a split second, but the guidance is there, right? And I
Yeah.
usually do it within like 30 seconds because for me, I'm so used to it that if
Mhm.
I can't not follow it. I try. Like
Yeah.
yesterday I tried, like I didn't want to go with my boyfriend somewhere and then I started feeling nauseous. I'm like, okay, it's in the bigger picture for me to go. And I just surrendered, right? And it's like, okay, now I'm back on track.
Yay.
But just to your point, right? Like it's always being given. And if we resist it, we're shutting the door, but it doesn't mean you can't open it in every second. So I think that's the beauty of it, is it never stops. It's always there. And it's really
Exactly.
our choice to invite it in.
Yeah. And you know what? I just want to be really honest and straightforward. And that is, I don't have this perfect, I don't want to give a false illusion that I'm always like 100% open and receptive. I, like everyone, I get stressed. I forget. I fall into trying to, like you just said, override it, and then I remember again. And thankfully, I remember sooner and faster these days.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that you're transparent, and we all are. We're all learning, but it's just like the more that we use it, in my experience, the more we grow, and I know as applying it to your business, my next, really question for you is how has it allowed you to create more income in your business and really serve the people at a really deep level with the intuitive gifts that have come through you?
Yeah. Well, let me just tell a little story. I started out my business as a life coach. I had a handful of private clients. I was making a couple $1,000s a month. And then it just plateaued, and I didn't need my intuition to tell me that that wasn't really sustainable. And so, for somewhere in there, I was compelled to shift my focus and look at serving transformative entrepreneurs. Now that's the part I think was intuitive, because it made no rational sense whatsoever, and it scared the heck out of me. And at the time, I didn't even know a whole lot about business. So it was like, really? But I listened, and I did some, foundational trainings, and, so I could better understand business and how I could help others with it. And I confess, along the way, sometimes I think of it as like I drank some Kool-Aid. I lost my way. I was like, oh, this is how I need to do it. I guess I'll do it this way. And I tried to, follow the path I was supposed to, and ended up creating something that was, bland and boring, and it didn't inspire me. And so I'm not surprised it didn't really inspire anybody else. And I couldn't do it for very long, thankfully. And it was really, it was intuition that rescued me, and it sent me on a medicine walk with the soul of my business. Now, I didn't have the language for that then. I mean, I knew medicine walks from years of leading vision quests. But this one pivotal medicine walk, I met the soul of my business, and I recognized it as that. And it all kind of unfolded from there. I'm happy to tell the story if you think that would be inspiring, and I can also, okay. Yeah. So a medicine walk is essentially an intentional walk in nature that you take with an inquiry or a question. You want to get insight in how to respond to it. And so I was actually out on a vision quest with some other vision quest guide friends, and I was doing it was a 4-day vision quest, and I was doing a medicine walk each day in one of the directions, kind of on the medicine wheel. And so the particular day here was the north, and the north on this medicine wheel that I was working with is the domain of giving your gifts to the world. So it's business, it's leadership. And so I set off with this question for my business. How does my work and my business really want to express itself? And so I tried to just go north, and I couldn't do it. There was like, the forest was dense and I couldn't find my way through, but there was this big, dusty, dirty road, and I could have walked that, but I was like, no way, I am not walking a road that a whole bunch of other people have, trundle along, because I've already just tried that and it didn't make me happy. Like, I have to find my own path. And so I wandered around a bit and I was getting nowhere. And then finally I turned to the east also. So I was now walking in the direction of northeast, and almost instantly just things opened up and this forest became lush, and it had really like foot-high grass, so soft, and it was just vibrant and alive in just the most extraordinary way. And so I walked it, and each step I took, I just felt more joy and delight and awe. And I finally got to this peak, like up to, like topped out on the top of this hill, and I could see these power lines in the distance, and they were like high voltage. And in that moment, they could mean a lot of things to people, but in that moment, to me, they represented, well, let's just go back and say, like, the east is the direction of spirit. And so I had essentially walked the direction that brings business and spirit together. And I realized that was what the soul of my business is telling me. Like, this is my path. It's not walking, the wide, clear path that everyone else is walking, but I'm also not meant to sort of bash my way through straight up business. Like, I'm called to help evolve consciousness in the arena that humans exchange value, and that's business in our modern world. So this has become the foundation of my business. Yes, I help my clients find their right work in the world. I help them market it in ways that, feel good and honoring. And it's all in service of restoring the sacred to how we do business, so that we can be in right relationship with ourselves and each other, and the world. And I'll tell you, that was the turning point for me. Like, everything became easier because it was more aligned. My income has gone up significantly since then. I'm doing better work. My clients adore the work I'm doing with them, whereas before, when I was trying to copy someone else, it was good, but it was nothing great, and they could have just as easily gone to someone else. Like, now I do something that it astonishes me what I've been able to create. And it all came back to, listening to that intuitive guidance to take that medicine walk. I could not have thought of this myself. If I just kind of sort of sat down and tried to figure out, like, okay, what am I really about? It wasn't going to happen. So it was really my intuition. And if you go back to, I know you speak about your intuition being the soul, your soul speaking to you. I love that there's this blending of my intuition sending me on this medicine walk, where I got to listen to soul. It's just a different expression of soul. So
that's beautiful. I love it.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I know that you take people, or you offer these journeys, don't you? Because I know there's some really awesome stuff that you have up in the air. I'd love to let people know how they could possibly, tap into this wisdom, because I agree with you. When we listen to our soul, it's a path that really only we can walk, and we're creating it. And I personally don't believe anybody can tell you how to do it. We may get, certain insights or strategies or things from people, but ultimately our soul already knows. So I would love for you to share how maybe people could tap into learning more about the soul of their business.
Well, actually, right now, I am hosting something called the Soul of Your Business Open House Experience. And one of the things that emerged for me was that the idea of partnering with the soul of your business. So you're coming into relationship with it. It's a conscious relationship, and you're listening for the guidance that it has to offer you. That is a first foundation in a bigger first pillar in a bigger foundation that I think any business needs. Like, if you're just starting out, you haven't quite gotten traction yet, or if you're solid in your business and you want to take it in a new direction, which is kind of like starting out, but just not from scratch. And so to me, it starts with the partnering with the soul of your business, because I think there's a blueprint there for how your business wants to unfold itself. And once you've got that, it's a relationship, actually. You're creating a relationship with the soul of your business. And then the next relationship is about, who are your people? How do you serve them? And particularly like what's in their heart that they're yearning for, and how can you connect deeply with that so that you can be of service to them. And then the next relationship is gathering up. Sometimes I like to think of it as people have, this medicine bag, and it's just crammed full of gifts, talents, experience, knowledge, life wisdom, like all this goodness that you bring forth to serve your clients. And it's just kind of stuffed in there randomly, and you pull this out, that out, and but if you can, based on those other two relationships, this next relationship is really about how do you craft that into a body of work for serving these people. And it's the body of work for your whole business. And so from there, then you can create programs that are exquisitely transformative, and they're sourced in these other three relationships. They're like, sometimes I see entrepreneurs are like, oh, what can I create? And they just kind of whip up something. It's like spaghetti. You just throw it in the wall and you hope that it sticks and, throw some money back at you. But when you've got those first three relationships, then the programs you create are sourced in something deep and rich. And so that's the bigger journey that I see is essential, whether, you're starting out or you're starting over. And that's actually what we're exploring in the Soul of Your Business open house experience. So it's a free thing. You can come and engage with it. We have a really cool contest, actually. Can I tell you about the contest?
Oh, sure.
It's actually where you submit an image, just a beautiful image that you feel speaks to the soul of your business. And you wrap it in some words, and then you submit it. And I spend some time with it, and I lovingly reflect back to you what I see in the soul of your business. And I've had so many people say, wow, I learned something really new about what I'm here to do. And, this new expression or this subtle insight or deeper take on what my work is about. So I just love digging into this with people. So that's a great way to experience it yourself right now for free.
Awesome. So I know we have the link below this video that you can click on. And, just to back you up in that, Susanna, it just feels, I know for myself, creating a curriculum, it's been sourced. It hasn't been something I've tried to figure out or just put out to get money back. It's been a mission, an inspiration. Mm-hmm. So to teach people how to tap into that and really draw on the rich resources within and what the universe, the greater plan has for us, I think is absolutely beautiful. And to articulate that in a way that serves people, I think is really valuable work. So
yeah, thank you. And it's interesting, just as you were saying that, I realized I hold two ends of the spectrum, and I see so much of what's out there in the business world around program design sort of hover in the middle. And so you're right, it has to be sourced from that deeper place. And then it's like you really want to know principles of like, how do adults learn, and what is the arc of transformative learning, and how is transformation different than change? That word transformation, it just gets used 9 ways from Sunday in the in the coaching world. And those things are essential to know, like how do you design a program? Because I've been in programs where I was just taught like, well, you decide how long it is and how many coaching calls, and then you add your content like it was, I don't know, making granola or something, as opposed to something really beautiful, like a fancy special cake that requires exquisite care to like the best ingredients and, like really knowing what you're doing. So I don't know, I just felt inspired to add that little bit in.
Yeah, absolutely. Quality is amazing.
Quality is.
We were in Walmart yesterday, and I was like, we both looked at each other, my boyfriend and I were like, we do quality.
Exactly.
Much, but it's like, it feels really true. So
yeah. And here's the other thing. When you create something sourced from that deeper place that your intuition has really guided you to, you can't help but love it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And your people feel that.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you're kind of already answering this question, but I'm wondering, what is your deeper impact on the world that you see happening as doing this work and serving people by helping them connect with their soul of the business? How do you see that evolving the planet?
Well, I think, way back in our human history, the primary sort of organizing entity was the tribe. And then, you know, humanity evolved in ways and it became like the city and the state and the nation. And the church was, you know, a big influence. And now, honestly, I would say it's business. And, you know, those of us who are conscious and heart-centered, you can look out in the world of bigger business and see so many examples of business that's kind of gone to the dark side. You know, it's businesses that are willing to rape and pillage the earth and other people just for bottom line profit. And so I think business has wandered very far from its sacred roots. There was a book I read once called Sacred Commerce, The Rise of the Global Citizen. It was fabulous. And it traced business back to ancient Egypt, where it was actually a path of ministry. And it's, you know, I read that book probably 4 years ago, and I thought this is right about the time. I think I read it after I did that. I can't remember. It was right around the time I did that medicine walk. And I realized this is what I'm called to, is to really restore the business to its sacred origins, and, you know, help us come into right relationship with ourselves, with each other, with the whole of the world. And what I see possible with that is then business can become a force for healing and good in the world again. And those of us who approach business this way can not only bless the world with our transformative gifts and whatever, you know, contribution we're here to make, but we can like sort of get a double whammy and also bless the world through how we do business. And that feels enormous.
Yeah, I know that's one of the reasons I've connected with you, is our ethics around how we do business. And I feel when you're being sourced, right, your ethics are going to be pretty strong. And so I would love for you to share about how you run your business from that place of just integrity and willingness to serve from that deeper place.
I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Could you ask that again?
Yeah, so how do you run your business from this place of ethics and integrity, and just the way that you run your business is different than some of the other businesses that you've explained are out there. So how do you...
Oh, how's it different? Okay. Well, there's a few things that come to top of mind. One of them is I actually take regular medicine walks with the soul of my business. So I'm always listening to it, and in a variety of ways. I have other shamanic practices where I can sort of dial into it instantly for a quick check-in. But like every fall, I go on one or several medicine walks to vision into the coming year. And sometimes what comes forth in the first medicine walk is just a piece of it, and I can feel like my intuition says that's not everything. So then I do another one. And like last fall, I did 3 before I really got it, like it sat down and it was clear. So that's one thing. Another piece is I am very relational, partly by nature, and then partly that's been enhanced through my shamanic work, because it just sees everything as relationship. And so I go out of my way to really honor and respect each person. And you know, like just I'm doing a promotional right now in this open house, and I engage with every single person who steps forward. If someone posts in a Facebook group that I'm hosting this in, I respond. I'll respond in depth. And it takes more time and energy, but I feel like business is about relationship. And if someone is going to step forward into that relationship, I want to step forward and meet them too. So that's another piece of how I do that.
That's awesome. Thank you. I think those are really important pieces of basically walk what you talk, right? You're doing what you preach, and you're engaging at that deeper level with everyone. Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a free gift you have today too in addition, or was it the, I just was reading something that you had sent me about a free gift. Is that just the open house, or is there anything additional?
There is the open house. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think that I know that
it's plenty rich.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, I know that will more than cover it. So very cool.
And you know what? Here's the other thing. You're going to get more out of a free gift that's actually interactive, and I'll meet you and respond to you personally, than if you just download something and hopefully you get to it someday.
Right, right. Absolutely.
We know how that goes.
Yeah, practically applying it is the key.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today, Susanna? Any other tips for business or your experience of connecting with intuition?
Well, I think that when you said tips for around your business, I would say that, this idea of partnering with the soul of your business. Like, I have a particular way I do it. It's through a medicine walk, but that's certainly not the only way. And I would just encourage, if this is a concept that resonates with you and you have the sense of, wow, I think, yeah, my business might be this separate entity from me. And how could I have a relationship with it and learn to listen to the guidance it has to offer? Dig into your own medicine bag. Like, what tools or techniques or, modalities do you have available to you? Maybe it's doing art. Maybe it's, movement. Maybe it's meditation, or I don't know. I mean, you've no doubt got something. And just start tuning into it that way, and you'll know that you've landed when what comes back is different than when you would have thought up yourself. Even if it's just like the teeniest bit different, like, let that be enough and respond to that. And then, that's how this is a practice. It just, you listen to it and it trusts you more to give you more the next time.
That's awesome. I love that.
Thank you.
Very cool. Well, anything else about intuition you want to leave the audience with?
Just feeling into it in this moment, I think it comes back to the relax and release into it. And if you feel yourself sort of like grasping for it, like, where's my intuition? You're never going to get to it that way. It really has to be relax and release. And so again, go to your medicine bag, go to your toolkit, and find what are the practices that allow you to do that, so you can actually, that door can open and you can listen and hear and receive what's there for you.
And my sense is that at the open house that you're having, that people would have some ways that they could actually do that to relax and release and really step into their business. Would you say that would be true?
Yeah, I don't so much focus on those practices. I sort of trust that people have them. But if someone stepped forward and said, I don't really know how to do that, I would step forward and respond to them, and something would come of that engagement.
Or send them my way. I'll
send them your way.
Tell them how to do their business.
Exactly. That's really what I should be doing.
Yeah.
Go talk to Abby.
Yeah. Well, very cool. And the beautiful part of this work is we all work together. And so I want to thank everybody for showing up today and doing their part of really being that change that's evolving the planet. And Susanna, for your time and wisdom. And I always love sharing. So thanks so much for being here, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.